You know that feeling, right? The one where your brain is just, it's like a constant noisy radio station you can't tune out. Deadlines, emails, family stuff, the news cycle, that endless list of things you should be doing. It's like, I don't know, having 50 browser tabs open in your mind.
Yeah, all demanding attention.
Exactly, all competing for processing power, all turned up way too loud.
Yeah.
And trying to find a quiet moment, or heck, even just one clear thought in all that noise, it feels impossible sometimes. You're definitely not alone in that.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, the racing thoughts you just can't seem to shut off, it really feels like the default mode for so many of us these days.
Right.
And it's not just about feeling frazzled, you know? It has real consequences. That constant mental clutter makes focusing a real struggle. Clear thinking feels like a luxury you can't afford.
No.
And sleep.
Forget about it.
Often, yeah, it feels like a distant dream. And this isn't just like a feeling, this kind of chronic stress. It triggers actual physiological responses.
Yeah.
Hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, they get released, and they literally impact how your brain functions. Affects memory, decision-making, everything.
Wow.
It's that constant push and pull, isn't it?
Oh,
Between the external stuff, work demands, money worries, relationships, and then those internal battles. Perfectionism, that little voice.
The inner critic.
Exactly. Or just negative self-talk that keeps looping.
Okay, so what if I told you that maybe, just maybe, a really simple tool, something you probably have lying around right now, like an old notebook, a pen, even just the Notes app on your phone, could be one of the best ways to actually untangle some of that noise, to find a way back to, well, calm.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
It's fascinating territory. We've gone through a whole stack of sources, articles, some research, even some really interesting online discussions to get to the heart of journaling.
Right.
Not looking at it as just, you know, a diary you kept as a kid or some trendy wellness thing, but understanding it as a powerful, evidence-backed tool. Something to actively manage stress and anxiety, especially in that busy, overwhelmed mind.
So our mission here is basically to cut through the noise ourselves, pull out the most important bits from all this material. We want to understand how journaling really helps a cluttered mind find some peace and dig into why it works. There's actually some solid science and psychology behind it, which is cool. And maybe most importantly, figure out how you can realistically make this a part of your life. Even if you feel like you have zero spare time or you're thinking, where would I even start?
Exactly. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's first just really validate that problem we started with, because it's not about some personal failing, is it? The world is demanding, it's fast, you're juggling work deadlines, home stuff, relationships, money, all those external pressures.
Yeah, it's relentless.
And then you layer on the internal stuff, that mental to-do list, the what-ifs, the feeling you're not doing enough. It is a lot.
It truly is. Yeah. And all that volume, all that complexity, it creates what you could really call a cluttered mental space.
Right.
When your thoughts are all tangled up like that, it's incredibly hard to get any perspective.
Totally.
You struggle to process feelings properly, and sometimes you can't even tell what's the real source of the stress versus just background noise.
So then journaling comes along, often presented as this kind of quiet solution. The sources talk about it as a deliberate practice, a space you intentionally create for like self-reflection, exploration, just being honest with yourself.
Yeah, almost like opening a private door to your own inner world, one nobody else gets to see.
A private door, I like that.
And a really key function, something that came up again and again, is that it provides a safe space for emotions. Think about it when you're anxious or frustrated or maybe even really happy about something unexpected. Where do those feelings usually go?
They just kind of swirl around inside, right? Making noise.
Exactly. They just churn. Journaling gives you a place, a designated spot to put those feelings down, to process them, explore them without any judgment. And that simple act, taking something internal, maybe overwhelming, translating it into words, putting it outside yourself on a page or screen.
Externalizing.
That externalization, yeah, it's consistently reported to just reduce the intensity.
Yeah.
It takes the edge off the stress or the emotion. It's a way of processing that happens outside your own head for a change.
Okay, so let's really unpack the why here. Because honestly, just writing stuff down sounds almost too simple. You know, how can that fix the 50 tabs open in my brain?
Well, what's fascinating is that it works on multiple levels at once. Psychologically, one of the biggest immediate wins is mental clarity. When thoughts are just buzzing around, they're chaotic, hard to grasp. Writing them down forces you to impose some structure. It helps you organize those scattered thoughts, lets you see patterns you might miss otherwise. It really is a mental decluttering process. Getting the thoughts out lets you step back, view a stressful situation from a bit of a distance. That's crucial for gaining perspective.
Like emptying out that junk drawer finally.
Exactly. So you can actually find what you need.
And what about that emotional release idea, catharsis?
Precisely. Writing can be incredibly cathartic. It's a natural, contained way to process difficult emotions. You can let out the anger, the sadness, the worry stuff that might otherwise stay bottled up, adding to that overall tension. And this release, it doesn't just feel better emotionally, it contributes to better emotional balance overall, and it can directly reduce physical stress symptoms too. It's like having a totally private chat with yourself where you can be brutally honest about everything.
I remember seeing someone online put it really simply. It might have been Reddit, maybe a forum. They said putting thoughts on paper helps release them from your head so you don't have to keep carrying them around constantly.
That's a brilliant way to put it. You're literally freeing up mental bandwidth. It lets you process and manage emotions more effectively instead of being managed by them. And this is really powerful when you're dealing with difficult stuff, maybe painful past experiences.
Like trauma.
Yeah, writing about trauma, for instance, can help process what happened, find meaning over time, build resilience. It's a way to integrate the experience rather than letting it just overwhelm you.
Okay, but what about that hamster wheel? The overthinking, the negative thought loops. Can journaling actually interrupt that cycle?
The sources strongly suggest it can be a really effective tool there. When your brain's spinning out, throwing worst-case scenarios at you, the act of writing them down forces you to slow down. Handle them one thought at a time. You can literally make lists, pros and cons, things I can control versus things I can't, likely fears versus, the really out there ones.
Yeah, get it out of the abstract.
Right. Externalize those racing thoughts. Analyze them more logically. It makes it easier to spot when a fear is maybe irrational. For lots of people, just getting those ruminating thoughts out of the echo chamber of their mind and onto a page where they can see them is huge.
But, there's a potential downside too, isn't there? I remember seeing something about how only focusing on the negative in your journal could backfire, like reinforce it or lead to just wallowing.
That's a really crucial point, and yeah, it came up in the material. It's absolutely vital to let yourself vent, express those tough feelings. That's part of the release. But if your journaling only ever consists of dwelling on the negative, you might accidentally keep yourself stuck there.
Right, that makes sense.
So the suggestion is to find a balance. After you've vented, process those feelings, try to shift, use the clarity you've gained maybe to brainstorm solutions, or look for lessons learned, or actively dedicate some space to gratitude, to positives. Journaling should be a tool to help you move through things and grow, not just a place to stay stuck in the muck.
It also feels really connected to mindfulness, doesn't it?
Very much so. Journaling naturally encourages you to pause, be present with your thoughts and emotions as they happen, and just observe them without immediate judgment, without trying to push them away instantly. And that practice, it builds self-awareness. You start recognizing your own patterns, your triggers, your emotional landscape, and that self-awareness is a direct antidote to rumination, that repetitive negative thinking that fuels so much stress. By writing, you're actively engaging with your inner world in a mindful way.
Is there actually something happening in the brain, though, like neuroscientifically, beyond just feeling better psychologically?
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really cool. The physical act of writing, or even typing, it engages specific brain areas that contribute to these benefits. It seems to influence activity in the amygdala, the brain's sort of alarm center, and other emotional processing zones. By putting feelings into words, you're engaging higher-level brain functions that can help calm that alarm, provide release, reduce that raw stress response. And your prefrontal cortex, the planning, decision-making, logical part, gets a workout when you organize thoughts, make sense of emotions, think critically, weighing feelings against values. It literally helps declutter the mind for better problem solving, brings order to the chaos.
So it's not just a mind trick. Your brain is actually processing things differently when you write it down.
Exactly. You're forging new pathways, in a way. Reflecting on experiences, writing about them, stimulates the hippocampus, crucial for memory and learning. Helps you integrate past events, learn from them better. And just the process of taking abstract thoughts and turning them into written language, that engages key language areas like Wernicke's and Broca's areas. That effort clarifies fuzzy feelings and ideas for yourself, and bonus, it can even improve your communication skills generally.
Wow. And then, on top of all that psychological and brain stuff, some sources mentioned actual, tangible physical health benefits. That kind of blew my mind a bit.
This is where it gets really interesting, almost counterintuitive, right? Studies and reports suggest regular expressive writing can have measurable positive effects on the body. We're talking things like strengthening your immune system.
Seriously?
Yeah. Potentially helping injuries heal faster, reducing stress-related doctor visits, even improvements in things like blood pressure, lung function, liver function.
Writing impacting your liver function. I mean, that's not the first connection you make when you pick up a pen.
It's pretty remarkable. The thinking is often tied back to reducing chronic stress, which we know hammers all those bodily systems. By processing stress better through journaling, you're lessening that toxic load. It's also linked to that psychological benefit of developing a coherent narrative, making sense of your life, even the hard parts, fostering a more positive outlook. That mental shift seems to ripple outwards physically.
Okay. I'm sold. This sounds genuinely powerful, but now, the reality check. For so many people, maybe myself included sometimes, there's this big wall of, ugh, I can't, or nope, when you think about actually starting, not knowing how, feeling awkward, thinking you have to be some great writer, or just feeling like you have absolutely zero time, especially when you're already stressed out.
Acknowledging those struggles is so important because they're the biggest roadblocks.
Yeah.
It's totally true when you feel most overwhelmed. Sitting down quietly to write can feel like the last thing you have energy for.
Right.
But it's worth remembering what one source said. Journaling is a habit that can help you most when you feel anxious and rushed. It's not just a hobby for when you magically have loads of free time.
What about the privacy fear? That's a big one. The thought someone might find your deepest thoughts.
Completely valid concern. Very understandable. But there are pretty straightforward ways around it. Physical journal. Pick one that feels private. Keep it somewhere safe, only you know about. Digital. Loads of great apps now have password protection, even fingerprint or Face ID.
True.
The consensus seems to be, take simple precautions. The potential benefits for your mental and even physical health, they really outweigh that risk. Your journal is meant to be for your eyes only.
And what about the fear of actually confronting the feelings themselves? It can feel like you're deliberately opening Pandora's box, stuff you've been trying to keep lid on.
Another very real hesitation. And yeah, journaling can bring up uncomfortable stuff you've maybe been avoiding, but framing it as part of healing, part of growth is key. Instead of being blindsided by those feelings when they pop up randomly, journaling gives you a structured, contained way to explore them.
Okay.
It gives you some control of the process, a path towards understanding, maybe resolution, rather than just being swept away.
And then the classic, I'm not a writer, or I'll just stare at a blank page. That feeling it has to be perfect or profound.
Oh, the inner critic loves that one.
Yeah.
But you got to shut that voice down for journaling. This is not about perfect grammar, spelling, amazing prose, or even writing a certain amount. It's purely about honesty and self-expression for you.
Okay, really gotta let that go.
Seriously, don't worry about handwriting. Making it neat. Make it messy. Cross things out, doodle. If you hit a blank page, totally normal. Have some prompts ready, maybe endless lists online. What are you grateful for? Describe a challenge. What are you looking forward to? Or just try free writing. Literally write anything to get started. I don't know what to write. That's a fine start. The point is just starting, not being perfect.
So, given all those hurdles, how do you make this actually work for you? Because obviously there's no single right way.
Flexibility is everything. This has to adapt to your life, not the other way around. First, experiment with the medium, paper or digital. Pen and paper forces you to slow down, maybe better for memory, deeper thinking for some. Digital typing on your phone, computer, often faster for just getting thoughts out, feels productive, super accessible because your phone's always there. Think about you. Hate your handwriting? Go digital. Get distracted typing. Try paper. Visual person. Maybe an art journal is your thing. Just experiment. See what feels comfortable, what you might actually stick with.
And time of day. Is there a magic hour? Morning? Night?
Sources mention benefits for both. Morning for intentions, gratitude, planning. Evening for reflection, processing the day, unloading worries. But honestly, the right time is whatever's realistic for your schedule and energy.
Okay.
5 minutes at lunch, a few lines on the bus, jotting something while the kettle boils. Anything is better than nothing. Consistency in short bursts often wins over big failed attempts.
And you don't need some special quiet writing corner either.
Absolutely not. Don't get hung up on that. Changing your environment can actually spark different insights. Try a cafe, a park bench, your balcony, a quiet moment at work, even just the couch. Find spots where you feel okay and can grab even just a few minutes.
Okay, let's talk techniques then, because Dear Diary isn't the only option, right?
Okay.
What are some different ways in?
Oh, there's a huge range, which again shows how flexible it is. Stream consciousness or free writing is a great starting point. Just write whatever comes up, no structure, no filter, perfect for brain dumping, silencing the critic. Goal isn't order, just flow.
That sounds good for just clearing the mental decks.
Exactly. Then there's gratitude journaling, specifically focusing on positives, big or small. Writing down things you're grateful for really can shift your mindset, counter that negativity bias we all have. Makes you notice the good stuff, even when things are tough. People say it lifts their spirits, can be lists or more detailed thoughts.
And that directly tackles that point about not just wallowing, right?
Precisely. Unsent letters, writing to someone, living or not, that you don't actually send. It's a safe way to get out difficult emotions. Anger, hurt, forgiveness, appreciation can bring closure.
Interesting.
Simple lists are journaling too. To-do lists, worry lists to get them out. Goal lists, lists of favorite things. Quick way to organize certain thoughts. One-word journaling perfect for super busy days. Just capture the day's essence or your feeling in one word. Sources say even this tiny act can reduce stress.
Just one word. Okay, that feels doable even on the worst days.
Totally. What is going well? Journaling similar to gratitude, but focuses specifically on the positive things from that day, however small. Deliberately counters focusing only on frustrations. Photo a day, great for visual folks. Snap a pic representing your day or mood. Maybe add a caption.
Cool.
Future self or future scripting, writing about where you want to be, or scripting a future day in detail. Helps clarify goals, boosts optimism, motivates action. And a self-compassion letter, writing to yourself as a kind, supportive friend would, addressing self-criticism, building self-worth.
Wow, that's a fantastic toolkit. Makes it seem way less daunting. Like there really is something for everyone.
That's the idea. Find what clicks, what feels easy to start with.
So the last big piece, how do you actually make this stick? How do you turn it into a habit you actually do, especially when you need it most?
Consistency. That's the absolute key. And the trick to consistency, especially at first, start small. Seriously small. Don't aim for a 30-minute essay right off the bat. Aim for 5-10 minutes, or even just 2 sentences. Consistently showing up for those few minutes is way more valuable than trying and failing to do long sessions sporadically. And anchor it. Tie it to something you already do automatically. Journal for 5 minutes with your morning coffee, or right before you turn on Netflix, or just before brushing your teeth. Link it to an existing routine.
Makes it harder to forget.
Exactly. And schedule it if you need to. Put it in your calendar, set a phone reminder. If you don't consciously make space for it, it's so easy for other things to push it out. And track it. Use a habit tracker app. Put a check mark on a calendar. Whatever works. We humans like seeing progress, building streaks.
Yeah, hate breaking the chain.
Right. Seeing that streak grow can be super motivating. Sometimes it makes you write even more just to keep it going.
That visual feedback is powerful.
It really is. And crucially, try to make it a pleasure, not another chore on a list. Don't approach it with dread. Use a notebook you like, a pen that feels good. Create a comfy little space for those few minutes, maybe some music, tea, whatever makes it feel like a small act of self-care you look forward to.
And finally, what if you try a method and it's just not working? Feels boring, pointless.
Be really honest with yourself. Check in regularly. How does this specific practice feel? Is it helping or adding pressure?
Yeah.
Boring or energizing? If it's not working, don't just force it. That's your cue to experiment.
Switch it up.
Exactly. Try a different technique from that list. Try a different time. Switch from paper to digital or back again. You have to adapt it to your real life, your needs right now. Find your groove. It's an evolving thing, not a rigid rule book.
One last thought on that content balance we mentioned. While journaling is great for venting, the sources really emphasize using it for growth, right? Not just staying stuck.
That's such a vital distinction.
Yeah.
Absolutely let yourself express the hard stuff that is part of processing. But once you've done that, try to use the clarity you got from writing it down to move forward somehow. Brainstorm solutions. Look for lessons learned. What did this teach me? Or actively shift focus to gratitude or positives. It's about processing feelings so you can move through them and grow, not just using the journal as an echo chamber for venting forever.
Okay, let's wrap this up then. We've seen journaling is way more than just scribbling thoughts. It's a powerful, really flexible tool. It's backed by psychology, even neuroscience. It can genuinely reduce stress, anxiety, help you process emotions, gain clarity, understand yourself better, and maybe even boost your physical health.
Yeah, it really boils down to finding the method, the time, the place that feels right, and importantly, accessible for you. There's no single correct way, only your way.
And the key takeaway, the absolute most crucial thing, it's not what you write. It's not how elegant it is or how neat your handwriting is or how long you write for.
Nope. The most crucial part is just the simple act of showing up for yourself consistently, getting those thoughts and feelings out of your head and onto paper or a screen. Even tiny, consistent efforts, just a few lines, day after day, can make a huge difference to your peace of mind, how you handle stress, your overall well-being.
So maybe consider this. If just taking a few minutes to put your thoughts down without judgment, without expectation, can quiet that buzzing in your brain, help you make sense of things, build resilience, what other really simple practices might hold the key to profound changes in your well-being that maybe you haven't even thought about yet?